Welcome to Stories Junction. Let's get started with today's story. I always thought I had my life completely figured out. My name is Marcus, and for 9 solid years I shared a home in Charlotte with a woman named Vanessa who felt like an extension of myself. I knew the way she stirred her coffee exactly 3 times, the little half-smile she gave when she was pretending to be annoyed, the quiet hum she made while folding laundry. Our marriage wasn't fireworks, it was the kind of comfortable that lets you stop looking around corners. I trusted it. I trusted her. That kind of trust, it turns out, is the perfect place for secrets to hide. The last ordinary week started when Vanessa announced she was heading to Cancún for 5 days with her old sorority sisters, Brooke and Simone. She was buzzing in a way I hadn't seen since our honeymoon, spreadsheets of outfits, new bikinis still in the bag, non-stop weather app checks. I teased her about needing a separate suitcase for shoes. "Marcus, it's Mexico," she laughed. "Overpacking is basically patriotism." I told her not to come home with a dolphin tattooed on her ankle. She play-punched me and promised she was too old for that kind of regret. The morning she left, she wore a white sundress and oversized sunglasses pushed up into her curls like a headband. We ate scrambled eggs at the island while she scrolled her boarding pass. "You'll survive without me, right?" she asked, smirking. "I'll try not to burn the house down," I said. She kissed me quick, grabbed her roller bag, and was gone, singing some old Beyoncé under her breath as the Uber pulled away. I stood in the doorway longer than I needed to, watching the car disappear. Nothing felt off. Not yet. The first 4 days were quiet. Work, takeout, gym, sleep. She sent the usual updates: turquoise water, margaritas with pineapple wedges, selfies with Brooke and Simone looking sun-drunk and happy. I sent thumbs-up emojis and told her to stay hydrated. Normal. Easy. Boring in the best way. Then at 3:17 a.m. the night before she was due back, I woke up with a pressure on my chest like someone had parked a car there. No nightmare, no heartburn, just a cold, wordless alarm. I lay in the dark staring at the ceiling fan until it passed. I chalked it up to missing her. If I'd known that feeling was the first honest thing my gut had told me in years, I might have paid closer attention. Vanessa landed Thursday just after lunch. She came through the door smelling like coconut sunscreen and that weird airplane air, hair in 2 long braids I'd never seen before. Her hug was fast, almost perfunctory, like checking a box. "Trip was incredible," she said, already kicking off her sandals. "I'm wrecked though. That red eye killed me." She didn't look wrecked. She looked wired, like someone trying to outrun something that I told myself it was travel fatigue. People get weird after long flights. But by that same night the little things started stacking up, and once you notice one, the rest come rushing in like water through a cracked dam. The first 24 hours she was home, Vanessa showered 3 separate times. Not quick rinses, long, steaming ones with a fan on full blast like she was trying to scrub something deeper than sand off her skin. She barely unpacked. The suitcase stayed half open in the guest room, clothes spilling out like she couldn't stand to touch them again. Normally she talked trips to death, every dumb story, every overpriced cocktail, the fight she had with the hotel toaster. This time? Nothing. I'd ask, "How was the resort?" and get a flat fine. I'd try, "Did you guys go into town at all?" and she'd shrug a couple times. When I pushed, just lightly, she snapped, "Marcus, can I land for 5 minutes without the 3rd degree?" That wasn't her. Vanessa didn't snap. She teased, she rolled her eyes, she changed the subject with a kiss. She didn't bite. Her phone became a new limb. Face down on the counter, volume off, but every time it buzzed she snatched it like it might explode. That night she changed the passcode. I only noticed because I glanced over while she was entering it, two-handed, body angled away from me like I was a stranger on the subway. Friday morning she threw up. I heard it through the bathroom door, violent, sudden. When she came out, face gray and damp, she waved me off. "Shrimp taco at the airport, probably. I'm good." By Sunday it was happening every day before 8. She started wearing my old UNC hoodies even though it was 80 degrees outside, arms wrapped around her middle like she was cold from the inside. Monday night I found the receipt. I was moving laundry from washer to dryer, checking pockets out of habit. Out of her white jeans fell a crumpled bar slip from a place called La Luna, in Playa del Carmen. Timestamp 2:14 a.m. 2 shots of Clase Azul, 1 bottle of Moat, total something crazy for 2 people. On the back, scrawled in black ink, JAX 984-555-0193. I stood there in the laundry room with a paper between my fingers and felt the floor tilt. Jax. No last name. Just that and a local Mexican number. She'd never mentioned any guy, not once, not even in passing, that I didn't wake her. I didn't take a photo. I folded it exactly the way I found it, slid it back into the pocket, and let the washer finish its cycle. Then I poured myself a bourbon I didn't taste and stared out the kitchen window until the sky turned the color of weak coffee. The next morning she was sick again. Worse. She came out of the bathroom crying quietly, something I hadn't seen since her dad's funeral. I asked if she wanted ginger ale. She shook her head, climbed back into bed, and pulled the covers over her head like a kid hiding from monsters. That night she pushed her plate away at dinner, said the smell of garlic made her want to die. She went to bed at 8:30 without brushing her teeth, something so unlike her it felt like another person wearing her skin. I sat on the couch in the dark and did the math I didn't want to do. Cancún trip, exactly 7 weeks ago tomorrow. Morning sickness this bad at 7 weeks? That's not food poisoning. That's not stressed, and I knew what it was before I even let the word form. And I knew, with a certainty that turned my stomach to stone, that whatever had happened under those neon lights in Mexico had followed her home in a way no amount of showers could wash off. By the second week, the house felt like it was holding its breath. Vanessa drifted through rooms without turning on lights, speaking only when spoken to, voice thin and careful like she was walking across cracked ice. She slept 12, 14 hours at a stretch, then woke up looking more exhausted than when she'd gone down. The fridge filled up with things she suddenly couldn't stand the sight of: coffee, tomatoes, the lemon candle she used to love. I kept waiting for the right moment to ask, but there never was one. Every time I opened my mouth, the words felt too big, too sharp. Instead I watched. I noticed how she flinched when her phone lit up. How she took calls on the back porch now, whispering, glancing through the glass to make sure I wasn't close. How she'd started wearing sports bras to bed because anything tighter made her cry. One night I came home from the gym and found her on the bathroom floor, knees pulled to her chest, forehead pressed to the cool tile. She didn't hear me at first. When she did, she scrambled up, wiped her face and said migraine, even though her eyes were bone dry. That was the night I stopped pretending I didn't know that. I waited until she was asleep, really asleep, not that fake stillness she'd been doing. Then I went to Harris Teeter at 10 p.m. and bought the test myself. The cashier gave me the sympathetic smile people reserve for guys buying flowers after a fight. I almost laughed. Next morning I set the box on the counter next to her tea that she hadn't touched in days. "We need to do this," I said, calm as I could manage. She stared at it like it was a loaded gun. "I'm not, Vanessa. You're pregnant." The color drained out of her face so fast I thought she'd pass out. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out. "I already know it's not mine," I added, softer than I felt. "But we're getting confirmation anyway." She didn't fight me. She took the box with shaking fingers, disappeared into the bathroom, and shut the door so gently it somehow sounded louder than a slam. 3 minutes later she walked out holding the stick like it burned her. 2 pink lines, bold and undeniable. She set it on the counter between us like evidence in a trial and then folded in on herself, arms wrapped around her ribs, silent tears sliding off her chin. I made the doctor appointment for the next day. She didn't argue. The ultrasound room smelled like alcohol wipes and lavender diffuser. The tech was cheerful until she saw our faces, then she went quiet and professional. When the wand moved over Vanessa's stomach, the image flickered onto the screen, a tiny comma-shaped blur and a frantic, fluttering heartbeat. "Measuring right at 6 weeks and 4 days, the tech said, oblivious to the math detonating in my head. 6 weeks and 4 days. Vanessa had left for Cancun exactly 6 weeks and 5 days ago. I stared at the ceiling tiles and counted them so I wouldn't have to look at either of them. On the drive home she kept her face turned to the passenger window. Charlotte slid by in smears of green and gray. When I pulled into the garage and cut the engine, I finally asked the question I'd been carrying for days. "Who's Jax?" Her whole body jerked like I'd slapped her. She turned slowly, eyes wide and glassy with panic. "How do you, receipt in your jeans pocket," I said. "La Luna Bar. 2 em. His name and number on the back." She started crying then, ugly and uncontrollable, the kind that comes from somewhere deeper than regret. Between sobs the story spilled out in pieces. A night out without Brooke and Simone. Too many shots. Dancing. A guy who worked at the resort, tall, dreads, easy smile. One thing led to another in his apartment above the staff quarters. Once. Just once. She swore she used protection. She swore she didn't know how this happened. "I was stupid," she whispered. "I missed you and I was drunk and he made me feel 25 again for 5 minutes. I thought I could just bury it. Come home and everything would be the same." I listened without moving. When she finished, the garage was so quiet I could hear the ticking of the cooling engine and her ragged breathing. Then I said the sentence that ended us. "Nothing's the same, Vanessa. And it never will be again." She waited for me to scream. I could see it in the way she braced herself, shoulders up, arms crossed tight, like she was preparing for a physical blow. But I didn't give her the explosion she expected. I went quiet instead. A stillness so complete it seemed to scare her more than shouting ever could. For the rest of that night she trailed me through the house, talking in frantic circles. It was one time, Marcus. I was wasted. It didn't mean anything. We can go to counseling. I'll delete his number. I'll never drink again. We can raise the baby together, no one ever has to know. I let her talk until her voice cracked raw. Every apology landed like a pebble against glass. Nothing broke through. When she finally cried herself out and fell asleep on the couch still clutching a box of tissues, I opened my laptop and started searching to be why sunrise I had an appointment with Ryan Caldwell, the best family law attorney in Charlotte. While Vanessa showered the next morning, another long one, door locked, I stepped onto the back porch and made the call. I laid it all out: timeline, ultrasound date, receipt, confession. Ryan didn't flinch. He just said, "Come in today. We move fast on these." His office smelled like leather and lemon polish. He listened, took notes, then slid a legal pad across the desk. First rule: protect yourself now. Separate bank accounts, document everything, get the divorce petition drafted before emotions cloud the facts. You want this clean, we make it surgical. I nodded. No hesitation. That same week I quietly moved my money, changed passwords, photographed joint accounts. I did it all with the lights off and the house asleep, like a man dismantling a bomb he used to call home. Vanessa noticed the distance but not the machinery moving behind it. She kept trying to touch me, hand on my arm, head on my shoulder, and every time I stepped just out of reach. She started sleeping in the guest room to give me space. I let her think that's what it was. Saturday night I asked her to sit down with me in the living room. She lit up like I'd thrown her a lifeline, hurrying over in one of my old t-shirts, eyes puffy but hopeful. "Baby, thank you," she started. "I've been thinking, maybe we could do a baby moon before." I set the stack of papers on the coffee table between us. She froze. "What is that?" "Divorce papers. Already filed. Hearings in 9 days." The air left her lungs in one soundless rush. She stared at the pages like they might bite her. "Marcus, no, we haven't even tried. There's nothing to try," I said. My voice was level, almost kind. "You made a choice in Mexico. I'm making mine here." She lunged for my hand. I pulled back. "You can't just throw us away over one mistake." "It wasn't a mistake, Vanessa. A mistake is forgetting to take out the trash. You flew 1,500 miles, got drunk, slept with a stranger, and brought his kid home in your body. That's a decision. And I'm not raising it." The tears came hard and fast, mascara streaking down her cheeks. She begged. She bargained. She promised the moon and every star. I waited until she ran out of words, then stood up. "All future communication goes through Ryan. I'll be out by tomorrow night." She grabbed my wrist as I walked past. "Marcus, I'm scared. I'm having a baby alone because of one night." I looked down at her fingers wrapped around my arm, then met her eyes. "You're not alone," I said. "You have Jax." Then I gently pulled free and walked upstairs to pack. I packed like I was moving out of a hotel I'd never meant to stay in. One duffel, one carry-on, nothing that carried her perfume or our old life. No wedding album. No framed photos from the beach in Charleston. No coffee mug she'd painted with our initials. I left the house keys on the kitchen island next to her half-empty prenatal vitamins and walked out while she stood in the doorway in bare feet, arms wrapped around herself like the morning air might shatter her. I didn't slam the door. I just closed it. The soft click sounded final in a way screaming never could be. Why noon the next day I was 200 miles away in Asheville, new lease signed, new number activated, new job lined up starting Monday. The mountains swallowed Charlotte whole. I never looked in the rearview once. Vanessa tried for weeks. Emails forwarded through Ryan, voicemails I never played, a letter slipped under the door of my old office that someone mailed to me unopened. She told me the baby kicked the first time when she heard a reggae song in Target. She told me Jax ghosted the second she mentioned paternity. She told me she was sorry in every font and every language she knew. I read none of it after the first line. Ryan handled the rest. The divorce hearing was 23 minutes long. She didn't contest anything. She stood there in a navy dress that hid the small bump, eyes red but dry, and signed where the judge told her to sign. When it was over, she tried to catch me in the hallway. I kept walking. The last thing I heard her say was my name, cracked right down the middle. 6 months later, Ryan sent a short email. Healthy boy, 7 pounds 2 ounces, named Jackson Marcus with the middle name crossed out in Sharpie on the birth announcement she'd mailed him. He asked if I wanted it forwarded. I told him to shred it. Some nights I still wake up at 3:17 a.m. with that same weight on my chest, but now I know what it is, the echo of a life that almost kept me blind. I get up, make coffee, watch the Blue Ridge fog burn off the valleys, and the weight lifts every single time that I learn something walking away from that wreckage. Peace isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with fireworks or second chances. It's quiet. It's the sound of a door closing softly behind you, the engine starting, the road unrolling clean and empty ahead. That I don't hate Vanessa. I don't wish her harm. I just don't carry her anymore. And for the first time in almost a decade, the man in the mirror looks like someone I actually recognize.